What if your next word, your next action, could change someone's life forever today? Good morning, afternoon, everyone. Today I want to talk about something profoundly simple, yet incredibly powerful, letting the Holy Spirit guide us to those who need Him most. In a world filled with pain, loneliness, and confusion, God doesn't only work through miracles in the sky, He works through us, through ordinary people willing to say, "Lead me, Holy Spirit." We often move through life in such a hurry that we miss the silent cries around us. People carry burdens invisible to the eye, battles that no one can see, pain that is hidden behind smiles or casual greetings. Imagine the person sitting next to you on the bus, scrolling through their phone with a faint frown. Perhaps they just received bad news, or they're overwhelmed by the weight of life. Imagine the coworker who laughs at a joke in the office, but inside, they are feeling utterly alone. Every day, countless souls pass by us, unnoticed, their struggles hidden beneath layers of composure and routine. And yet, God does not want us to walk past them. He desires for us to be aware, to recognize the needs around us, and to become a vessel of His love in the lives of those He has placed in our path. Awareness begins with a shift of heart, a willingness to truly see beyond appearances. Most people are in a kind of autopilot, rushing to appointments, checking emails, dealing with the constant demands of modern life. In this state, we often fail to notice someone's subtle signals, a tear glistening in the corner of an eye, a voice that trembles slightly when speaking, or a smile that doesn't quite reach the eyes. These small things, seemingly insignificant, are often cries for connection, for comfort, for a reminder that they are not alone. The Holy Spirit works in these moments, nudging us, guiding us to see what our eyes might otherwise miss. It may not come as a dramatic vision or a loud proclamation, but as a gentle whisper, a soft prompting in our hearts that says, "Notice them, be there, reach out, consider a moment in your own life when someone's simple act of kindness changed everything." Perhaps it was a smile from a stranger when you felt invisible, or a coworker sending a message just to ask how you were doing on a particularly rough day. That brief interaction, that small gesture, may have felt trivial to them, but to you, it was a lifeline. It reminded you that someone cared, that someone saw your struggle and acknowledged your pain. The Holy Spirit works in a similar way. He nudges us to pay attention to these moments, to recognize the unseen battles being fought around us. And when we respond, we become the lifeline for someone else, a reminder that God's love is not abstract or distant. It is present, tangible, and real. Recognizing the needs around us requires more than just seeing with our eyes. It demands that we see with our hearts. It requires empathy, the ability to place ourselves in someone else's shoes, to sense their struggles and their pain, even when they are trying to hide it. Empathy is, once we open our eyes to the needs around us, the next step is to truly listen. Listening is not simply hearing words. It is tuning our hearts and spirits to the subtle guidance of the Holy Spirit. Unlike the dramatic moments we often imagine in movies or stories of miracles, the voice of the Spirit is quiet. It does not always come with thunder, lightning, or grand signs that everyone can see. More often, it is a gentle whisper, a soft nudge in the heart, a fleeting thought that urges us to act or speak in a way we would not have thought of on our own. It is a quiet, persistent presence that calls us to step beyond our comfort zones, to engage with the world in ways that reflect God's love. Many of us have experienced moments of sudden clarity or intuition, times when a thought or feeling emerges, and we know deep down it is the right path. The Holy Spirit speaks in these moments. It might be the sudden memory of a friend who is struggling, prompting you to reach out, or an unexplainable urge to visit someone you haven't spoken to in years. These are not coincidences. They are the Spirit's guidance. Learning to recognize these moments requires practice, attentiveness, and most importantly, a heart that is willing to respond. One of the most inspiring examples of listening to the Spirit comes from the life of Corrie ten Boom, a Christian hero during World War II. Corrie and her family were ordinary people living in the Netherlands, yet they were willing to follow God's guidance in extraordinary ways. During the Nazi occupation, they risked their lives to hide Jews from persecution. Corrie ten Boom later recounted that the Spirit often guided her to the people who needed help most. Sometimes it was a sudden sense of urgency, sometimes an inexplicable thought, or even a word in prayer that led her to take action. She didn't rely on her own strength, intelligence, or judgment. She relied on the promptings of the Holy Spirit. By listening and obeying, Corrie and her family were able to save countless lives. Their story reminds us that God often works in the world not through our grand strategies, but through ordinary people who are willing to listen and respond to His guidance. Listening to the Holy Spirit is not always easy. Our lives are full of noise. Phones ringing, emails piling up, errands to run, deadlines to meet, and constant demands on our attention. It can be difficult to discern the quiet voice of God amidst all this chaos. Yet, the Spirit speaks most clearly when we create space to listen. Silence, stillness, and prayer are powerful tools in this process. Even a simple prayer, whispered in your heart, can open the channels for God's guidance. Saying, "Holy Spirit, show me what to say or do," is an act of humility and trust, acknowledging that we cannot always figure things out on our own. It is a recognition that divine wisdom surpasses human understanding, and that God's timing and methods are far beyond ours. Sometimes the guidance of the Spirit comes in small, almost imperceptible ways. Perhaps you feel an urge to call a friend who has been distant, or to send a message to someone you haven't checked on in months. Maybe you feel compelled to give a compliment, share a word of encouragement, or offer a listening ear. These moments may seem minor or inconsequential, yet they often have the power to change a life. It might be a phone call that reminds someone they are loved, a hug that reassures them they are not alone, or simply listening to their story without judgment. These small acts of obedience, prompted by the Spirit, are moments where faith meets action. Listening is faith in motion. Listening also requires courage. The Spirit may guide us to people or situations that challenge our comfort zone. It may ask us to approach someone we would normally avoid, to speak a word that feels risky, or to step into a situation where the outcome is uncertain. Yet, it is in these moments of obedience that we see God's power working through us. Every time we respond to the Spirit's promptings, we are participating in a divine encounter that has the potential to impact lives in ways we cannot even imagine. Think of a time when you acted on a small nudge, a fleeting thought that seemed insignificant at first, only to realize later that it had a profound effect on someone's life. These moments are the Spirit at work, transforming ordinary interactions into divine appointments. One practical way to cultivate the ability to listen is to develop a habit of mindfulness in daily life. Pay attention to your thoughts and feelings, especially those that arise unexpectedly or feel different from your usual patterns. Often, these are moments where the Spirit is trying to guide us. Reflect on your interactions at the end of the day. Was there a person who seemed downhearted or lonely? Did a particular situation stir a sense of urgency or concern in your heart? These reflections can help you recognize patterns of guidance and attune your heart more fully to the Spirit's voice. It is also important to remember that listening is not just about immediate action. It is about discernment. Sometimes the Spirit will prompt us to wait, to pray, or to prepare before we act. Other times the prompt will be immediate, urging us to reach out or speak words of encouragement without delay. Learning to discern the timing and nature of these promptings is part of developing a deeper relationship with the Holy Spirit. It requires patience, sensitivity, and a willingness to trust that God's guidance is always for the highest good. The impact of listening can be profound. When we allow the Spirit to guide us, our ordinary days are transformed into extraordinary opportunities to serve, comfort, and encourage others. may never know the full extent of the difference we make, but every act of obedience plants seeds of hope, healing, and faith. The simple act of paying attention, of listening, and then responding, can bring light into a world that so often feels dark and heavy. It can bring peace to a troubled heart, hope to someone who has almost given up, and reassurance that God's love is present and active in their lives. Ultimately, listening to the Holy Spirit requires a heart that is humble, attentive, and willing to act. It is an invitation to participate in God's work in the world, to become a vessel of His love and compassion. Every person we encounter, every situation we face, holds potential for divine intervention when we allow the Spirit to guide us. And though the guidance may be quiet, subtle, or unexpected, it is always powerful, it is always perfect. It is always meant to bring life, hope, and encouragement to those who need it most. Seeing the needs around us and listening to the gentle promptings of the Holy Spirit are essential steps, but they are not enough on their own. God does not intend for us to simply observe or feel. We are called to act. Action fueled by love has a transformative power, one that can reach beyond what our eyes can see and our minds can imagine. Small gestures, performed with genuine compassion, often carry eternal consequences. Every act of kindness, every moment of selfless giving, is a ripple in the waters of life, capable of touching hearts, lifting spirits, and altering the course of someone's journey. The beauty of being a vessel of God's love is that it does not require grand gestures or monumental sacrifices. Often, it is the simple acts, the quiet, unnoticed moments, where God's power works most profoundly. Consider, for a moment, the story of a single mother struggling to make ends meet. She juggles 2 or 3 jobs, worries about providing food for her children, and fears falling behind on bills. Her life is a constant cycle of exhaustion and stress, and she may feel invisible to the world. One day, someone takes the time to notice her struggle. Perhaps you listen as she shares her burdens, or perhaps you sense through prayer and the guidance of the Holy Spirit that she needs support. You respond, not with judgment or criticism, but with practical help and encouragement. You may offer to buy groceries, help care for her children, or simply sit and listen, letting her know she is seen and valued. Acts may seem small, even insignificant to you, but to her, they are lifelines. They are manifestations of God's love made tangible through your willingness to serve. Acts of kindness do more than alleviate immediate struggles. They bring hope, restore faith, and often ignite a chain reaction of love. Research in psychology and social science has shown that helping others has profound benefits for both the giver and the receiver. When we engage in acts of compassion, our brains release oxytocin, the hormone often associated with happiness and bonding. Stress levels decrease, feelings of purpose and fulfillment increase, and the sense of connection to others is strengthened. In other words, being a vessel of God's love is not just spiritually powerful, it is also scientifically restorative. Every smile you offer, every meal you provide, every encouraging word you speak, not only uplifts the person receiving it, but it also transforms you, reinforcing the reality that God works through those who are willing to give. The essence of being a vessel is availability. God does not ask for perfect timing, flawless execution, or grand circumstances. He asks for willing hearts, waiting for the right moment. Often means waiting indefinitely, and in that delay, opportunities are lost. Life is full of ordinary moments. Moments at the grocery store, at work, in the neighborhood, or in the classroom, where someone in need may be right before our eyes. The Spirit may guide us to intervene with nothing more than a word of encouragement, a listening ear, or a helping hand. These ordinary moments, when infused with love and obedience, become extraordinary acts of service. They become the tools through which God manifests His presence in the world. Consider the story of a young man you may have seen walking past a park every day, headphones in his ears, face downcast. He appears distant, unapproachable, yet the Spirit nudges you to speak. You offer a simple greeting, a smile, or perhaps share a short message of encouragement. It seems small, even trivial, but to him, it may be a spark of hope. He may be struggling with depression, loneliness, or a feeling of insignificance. That brief interaction, rooted in love and attentiveness, could change the trajectory of his day, or even his life. Small acts of love have a way of multiplying. What begins as a single gesture can grow, spreading warmth and hope in ways that far exceed our understanding. Being a vessel of love also requires courage. It often involves stepping beyond our comfort zones, engaging with those who are different from us, or approaching situations that may feel uncomfortable or uncertain. But God does not call us to act in isolation. He equips us through His Spirit, providing the guidance, wisdom, and strength needed to meet the moment. When we respond with faith, our actions become more than human effort. They become channels for divine intervention. Every time we act in love, even in small ways, we participate in God's work in the world, becoming instruments through which His mercy, compassion, and grace flow. Another vital aspect of being a vessel is understanding that not all acts of love require material resources. Sometimes, the most powerful gift we can give is our time, attention, and presence. Simply sitting with someone who is grieving, listening without judgment, or offering prayerful support can have a profound impact. Many people suffer silently, carrying burdens they feel unable to share. By offering a safe space for them to express their pain, we demonstrate God's love in a form they can experience directly. It is often these seemingly intangible acts that leave the deepest, most lasting impressions. The cumulative effect of small, loving actions cannot be overstated. Each act plants a seed of hope, a seed that may grow into something extraordinary over time. The encouragement you offer today may inspire someone to help another tomorrow, creating a ripple effect that spreads far beyond what you can see. Every choice to act in love becomes part of a greater tapestry of God's work, weaving lives together in ways that are both beautiful and eternal. Being a vessel of love also invites us into a lifestyle of intentionality. It asks us to move through our day with awareness, sensitivity, and readiness to respond to the Spirit's guidance. It encourages us to look beyond ourselves, to consider the needs of others, and to act with empathy and compassion. It is not always convenient, and it is not always easy, but it is always profoundly rewarding. The transformation it brings to the lives we touch and to our own hearts is immeasurable. Finally, acting in love reminds us that God often works through ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary purposes. You do not need to be wealthy, famous, or particularly skilled. You only need to be willing to give, to serve, to notice, to listen, and to act. Each act of love, no matter how small, becomes a conduit for God. Grace, a tangible expression of His presence in a world that so desperately needs it. Every person you encounter has the potential to become a witness to God's love through you, and every opportunity you take to act faithfully is a chance to ignite hope and healing in ways that transcend the limits of human understanding. Start today. Start now. Notice the needs around you. Listen to the Spirit's guidance and take action. Do not wait for perfection. Do not wait for the ideal circumstance. Every small seed of love, planted intentionally and nurtured through God's Spirit, has the potential to grow into life-saving hope. Your willingness to be a vessel, to act in love, transforms ordinary moments into divine encounters. It changes lives, restores faith, and demonstrates the reality of God's presence in a world yearning for hope.